Order the historic town of Eatonville regular council meeting. Mrs. King, do have verification of quorum, please.
Yes, Councilwoman Randolph. Here. Councilman Daniels. Vice Mayor Washington.
Present.
Mayor Gardner.
Here.
And just for the record, Councilman Mack is absent today. And Mr. Presley is absent.
As we ask Mr. Reverend Creighton to come forward with the invocation, please keep Mr. Presley in your prayers. He's out on bereavement. Please stand for invocation, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Father God, we thank you once again for this day that you have made. We thank you for this opportunity that you give us to live, move, and all our being. We appreciate this community that you have placed us in to be stewards, that we may share and serve and support. We lift up this administration that you have permitted to lead us, God. We pray that you will continue to give them the wisdom and knowledge and understanding, the discretion to be able to make decisions that will be beneficial and advantageous for this community, that will bring you glory and us good. We thank you for everyone who has chose to make Eatonville their residence, God. We pray that you will bless them with the spirit of unanimity, that we will live in harmony and unity with one another, that we will love and respect each other's personalities as well as properties. We again thank you for this town council meeting where we can be further educated and updated on the state and the welfare of this, our community. We bless you, we praise you again for everything you're doing in, through, and for it. We ask you this in Jesus' name. We also lift up Mr. Presley, and we know that you're fully acquainted and aware of what he's dealing with and going through. We just lift him up before you, that you will perfect that which concerns him. We thank you that you will bring it to pass for your glory and his good. In Jesus' name again, we ask it and pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I'm going to just ask that there are a couple of discussion things that one, I'm going to ask, it's just a question for Attorney Shepherd, and the other I'm going to ask planning. How can I remember your name? Planning to just quickly explain why the floodplain management performance measurement item is on the consent agenda. I should have done it during the workshop, and it kind of completely. Mr. Coppett. Well, not yet though. So is there approval with just those amendments? Is there approval of the agenda? Sure. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. 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 All opposed. All right. The next item is the presentation, which is a proclamation. Because we have the proclamation signing tomorrow, I'm going to bypass reading it tonight. It'll be read tomorrow during the event outside Town Hall, I think at 6:30. So with that, we move on to citizen participation. Mrs. King.
Yes, we have Mr. Darrell Gray.
Madam Mayor, council members, staff, citizens, and friends of the historic town of Eatonville, Florida. Good evening. My name is Darrell Gray. For the many hats that I share, I bear greetings on behalf of the Afro-American Historical Genealogical Society Central Florida chapter, where I serve as vice president, and our chapter president is present here with us this evening. As well, I'm a member of the Dorothy Turner Johnson Orlando branch of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, the founders of Black History Month. And our collaborative goal is to be serving stakeholders in this community. More about that later. Again, of the many hats that I wear, Chief Murray and I, for the last couple of months, have been putting together an event that will take place in 11 days from now, which will be a Veterans Expo. It will be honoring veterans, both providing resources and connecting information on claims, benefits, and more. It will be taking place on Saturday, June 29th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Boys and Girls Club. Edenville, Florida. Title sponsors will be Town of Edenville, Veterans Administration, the National Association of Black Military Women, the National Association of Black Veterans, the African American Historical Genealogical Society, American Legion Post 331. And as of an update this morning, I think we have as many as 20 sponsors that will be coming. Admission is free. Refreshments will be included. And we hope to see you all there. Chief Murray, am I wrong in saying that this is not just restricted to veterans? Their families come as well.
As well, yes.
Family independent. So if you have family members who are veterans or even know someone, you can pass that information on as well. Excuse me. Now, my remaining time is to submit a resolution for your approval, establishing the commemoration of Florida Emancipation Day, which was first proclaimed in Florida on May 20th, 1865, 30 days before June 19th, 1865, now known as Juneteenth. What better place to celebrate emancipation than in the town that freedom built? The commemoration will include costume characters of the era, the reading of the Emancipation Proclamation, as well as a resolution of the founders, the residents past and present, that underscores the cost and value of freedom with the investment in the first incorporated self-governed municipality established in the United States in 1887 by formerly enslaved Africans. This will be an annual commemoration starting next year, 2025, in collaboration with Juneteenth celebration, as well, and will in no way undermine those efforts. Neither will take away from Founders Day. If anything, will enhance those efforts, and most importantly, may elevate its next civic pride and understanding the true commitment and cost of the town that freedom built to be the town that freedom builds. With the distinction and honor of being the first, under no circumstances, logic, or reason, in my opinion, should Edenville follow anything or anyone. And as a seventh-generation military veteran, while my enlistment has expired, my oath has not.
We have to wrap it up.
Liam, respectfully, I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you.
And our next one is Kathy Mills.
Evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Kathy Mills. I live at 318 Greensand Street, Eatonville, Florida. I'm a resident of Eatonville for 43 years. What I come up here to say, everyone may not enjoy, but I'm gonna say what I have to say. First of all, my son, we've been having an issue with the septic since March. All I ask for the town and what I try and give to the town is nothing less. My son and I was spoke upon in the CRA meeting and cut short. But what the council, the lady that spoke against us doesn't even live here. Not in this town at all. She is the executor of a will that was left by my grandmother, his grandmother. My grandmother died in 2005, and the will was not executed. I want everybody to know how the town sometimes don't stand behind their people. Few do, few don't. I've loved this town for as long as I've been here. All that I ask for from the town is to put that septic tank to the road, put the water to the front of the road. I don't ask for much. My grandmother was paying, and please don't cut me short on 3 minutes because I'm not gonna be quiet. Since 1970, and we've been paying sewage up until April of this year, and we had septic. All I ask for them We don't want any money. All we want is for that problem to be fixed because he's on dialysis and we need help. He's on a fixed income. Well, his aunt, who hated him so much, she forgot to tell the town that the reason her daughter is not in that house is because he got busted by the police for drugs. She had to move out, and my son moved in his rightful spot. My aunt, she wants no part of the house. We've spent thousands of dollars trying to fix up the house. She came in with a lie saying that he had no water. We have water in his house. The sewage is just not working well. The septic is not working well. So I want the town to know we are not financially able to pay everything, but we paid what we paid. And I feel like as long as we continue to live here and support this town, we need some support from our town. I don't ask so much.
We do hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicholas O'Hara.
Hi, everybody. I ain't gonna get off phone. I'll be short and sweet. It's my mother. I've been in this town 43 years. It's my home. Yeah. The town of Eatonville been stealing from our family since 1965. Been paying for a service we ain't had. Okay, we've been paying for a service we ain't had since 1965. And my town, let a citizen who ain't even from here come in here and talk about me. A citizen who I heard you guys speak and say, we need to talk to Nicholas. We need to talk to Nicholas. Somebody said that. I saw the video. But still, since May 31st, nobody's came to talk to Nicholas at 41 Lincoln Avenue. Yeah. I've been quiet. I let my mom try to come in here and handle this. She said she wanted to take care of her son. I'm gonna let me handle it. I said, go ahead, Mom. I come in and speak when it's my time to speak. What we do that at? If we don't stick together for each other first, I mean, how we gonna let some outsiders come in and speak at our town meeting and stop you guys from helping one of your own? And then you still ain't even came to talk to me about it. So, y'all in the car. Somebody come talk to me about something. You know, I ain't trying to make no threats. I'm just telling you what I'll do what I need to do next. You know, if I need to go see my attorney, I think we'll take that step. Thank you.
We have George Arnold.
I'm yielding to doing that.
You yielding to Julie?
Yes.
We have Julie Johnson.
I'm yielding to Nia.
We have Nia Williams Brown. With 2 yields, that is a total of 5. That I apologize.
I appreciate you, Lady King. My name is Nia Williams Brown, and I would like to address the people of Eatonville to include our leadership. I'm here to speak to you all in regards to working together as a community. When you come from historic people, generationally, culture is passed down in a way that is sustainable, that doesn't have to be studied because it shows up on the road. I value the taxpayers of this place, all over this place, because when I needed safety from the storm, they provided me for me. And they provided me a town full of the mightiest, most educated people, period. So imagine my surprise when, as a mother, acting on good faith, I'm being retaliated against that those that are housed by predatory individuals under organizations sanctioned by these people. I do my best to pay attention with the limited capabilities that I have, but I do my best to be of service. And the military didn't just teach me that. Strolling willingly into Montgomery, Alabama, over 20 years ago, to learn how to be of service to historic people that don't know how to be of service to themselves is what started that journey. So imagine my surprise when one of your own, a former council member and a board member of the HELP CDC, retaliated actively against me in regards to what acted in good faith to prevent homelessness. Now, a bullet that maybe newly interested individuals of Edenville might not feel, but those that are generationally invested will definitely understand the implications of it. Knowing the law, utilizing the law, Alvin Moore Jr. has offered himself as a shiny copper example of the standard of those in charge of governing the mental of the residents that keep this jurisdiction running. I am a recipient of Section 8, and I don't take that lightly because it took a long journey to get here. I value the money that you all put into not knowing where it's going, but having good faith that it's been working on your behalf. I don't choose to come and stand before you being any dramatic way. I come here demanding impactful engagement in the community. When I trust you with my assets, secure them. Don't exploit me or think that I'm a peasant, as the Harvard grad Alvin Moore Jr. denoted me as. That's fine. I can be that. As long as I'm being of service, because I'm not going to complain about it, because I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm a few people's mother, and I would not want to entertain the idea of one of my sons feeling that you all owed him something because you allowed people to contract themselves in here and willy-nilly run amok in this place. Now I'm doing my best to absorb the knowledge that is given to me so that I'm moving on beat in the tone of revitalizing the historical character of Edenville. However, in the midst of me using the resources allocated to me, I lost my neighbor. As you all are making policies and procedures and not seeing those that are being whisked away in the midst of all of this, we're missing key opportunities that keeps us relevant and unique. Mr. Jimmy's son turned 21 on the 9th. Alvin Moore Jr. showed up on the 10th to change locks, knowing the Florida statutes and tenant law, and actually, more than likely, sitting on the board, knowing that I'm in the community, using my sweat equity to educate us to a degree so that we are not endangered to those that are safeguarded by government policy and nonprofit nonsense. I didn't come here to hobnob this election year. I'm here on the behalf of the people of Edenville because they made sweat equity and they put into a corporation, and now that same corporation is using the blind spots of high education to hold us in an endangered place, and I refuse to speak as an endangered person, despite what it appears to be, because I'm strong enough to run through the storm if I need to, or acquire wings and fly. Either way, I intend to be impactful, whether my name is known or not. I address the people of Edenville because I require an all call of all the seeds of Edenville that have been produced here because we lack farmers to help our Negroes grow. I don't choose to be dramatic. I choose to be impactful in every way I can. No photo ops needed. Heel toe. I require the counting people of this place to use all of your resources to hold your former leaders in place, those that have access to the real estate and the intellectual property and the biodata of the people that sleep here and endure this with you all. We're not complaining. We want to be of service to you, but I need you to want to be of service to yourself. I want to thank Councilwoman Randolph for offering whatever she could to get in front of this before she saw it coming down the pipeline. St. Lawrence Church for willingly opening their doors so that we can have somewhere to meet outside of predatory places. Okay. Andrew Scott needs security to know that under the Florida statutes, he has 60 days to get it together. In a unique community, it should not be a lot for us to ask for assistance with utilities, for assistance with toiletries, with assistance to rise to the laundromat. I know you may see us as peons, but peons even help the story move. I don't care what you say about me or how you denote me or what status you want to put on me. I know who I am. And that's why I appear the way I do. Because I'm a few people's mother. And acting in good faith, I prevented a young man from experiencing homelessness in the unique historic town of Eville with the resources that Eville has brought to me. Vehicles built to help disseminate information to the proper people so that the proper choices are being made, not contractors that are with double swords that come into place wielding their willy-nilly agenda to match the charrettes of the county. No, this is a unique place. And I do apologize because I do my best to be careful with historic people because I know what it takes for y'all to show up. And it's just my hope that whoever employs you, it's in their best interest to make sure you have time to comprehend the unique position that you have been elected into currently. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone after that? Is there anyone else?
That was the last one.
I think that was a good one. Wow. The next two items, the first item I am going to ask, Attorney Shepherd, the issue regarding the ethics complaint. The question is, and from my understanding, since the ethics complaint was regarding me as a chair, then that should be a CRA discussion item versus the town. So just giving clarification.
It is a council item because council has the obligation to consider and make findings or reimbursement, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
This was raised as a question. Trying to remember, Mr. Jackson, somebody
Yeah.
raised this issue. And yes, it is a CRA board action that was the result of the complaint, but the non-CRA members, the non-council members don't have funding authority. So it's essentially a council issue. And that is to make the findings that I think I put them in an email. I was responding to Mr. Presley, I think it was asking. But basically, there's a standard of were you acting in your official role, in this case as the chairman of the CRA board, and then did your actions serve a public purpose? Having read the recommendations of the advocate, I think there's sufficient information in the report to indicate that both things are true, but it's not my opinion that matters. It's the opinion of you folks up here. And I'm happy to help you with that, but those are the two things. I do not know the amount of reimbursement. Maybe you can provide that information, but that's essentially where we are. It's appropriate to have the discussion, make the findings, and then make a motion.
It is about, you need an exact amount?
That's for y'all because you're making the reimbursement, but yes.
So then for the council, so at this point, we have the discussion. So in your packet, it was actually the packet itself was in your CRA packet because we weren't sure if it'll be a discussion tonight, but the hard copy packet is in your CRA packet. And what it boils down to is there was a complaint filed against me, an ethics complaint.
You have a maintenance agenda or something? I don't have that on. I mean,
Well, that was one of the approval items they asked. The documents are in your packet though.
I thought it was the CRA, that's about it.
Because we weren't certain, but just what it boils down to. One more thing, Attorney Shepherd, you stated that it meets the two criteria that Attorney Jackson he kind of
He laid out the case law and the AG opinions and all that accurately. And the opinions that he referenced, if you look at them, they're all about the council or commission, depending on what the body's called, making a determination of those two issues. And this is what happens when any elected official is charged with either a crime, an ethics violation, or anything that provides legal jeopardy of any kind. And based on what's called common law, i.e. judge-made law, you have a right to reimbursement if it meets the two tests. But the parties who determine whether it meets the two tests initially are this body, subject to review of court if those determinations are inaccurate.
Okay, so in this case, the ethics complaint filed against me was in regards to my role as a CRA chair, following the resolution that was approved. And in doing so, an ethics complaint was filed because it was stated that I misused my position by authorizing that or giving the direction for that payout to occur without the payment back before the CRA board. So throughout the investigation was done, it was concluded that there was no probable cause and that I did not there was no probable cause. The board did, based on the approval of that resolution, authorize payment. I'm trying not to paraphrase. Just give me a moment.
Resolution?
No, the final order. Based on the preliminary investigation of this complaint and the recommendation of the commission's advocate, the Commission on Ethics finds there is no probable cause to believe the respondent, while serving as chairman of the Board of Directors of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency, violated section 112.313(6) Florida statutes by authorizing the issuance of a payment as severance pay to the former executive director of the Town of Eatonville CRA. Accordingly, this complaint is dismissed with the issuance of this public report ordered by the State of Florida Commission on Ethics meeting in executive session on Friday, June 7th. In order to make certain that I was covered, I did retain a lawyer, and fees were paid. Travel expenses were incurred. A hotel bill was incurred. I am asking for those funds to be reimbursed to me. Because when we spoke about it, we had stated in the CRA meeting that we would wait for the auditor to see what the auditor would say, to make sure that all of my procedures that I followed were accurate. However, this ethics complaint was filed prior to that. And because of that, I don't think that the taxpayers should pay. So you'll see in my cover letter, I am asking, since you're the complainant for the ethics, and this is not personal, but since you were the complainant, I'm asking that you pay. Or this was also done because of a resolution that was prepared. I think that resolution, whoever prepared the resolution, could also be the person responsible for the payment. And if neither of y'all want to pay it, then it goes to the taxpayers. But I think that I should be reimbursed for it. And to go, the travel expenses, because I went to Tallahassee, which is where the lawyer was, and that would have been cheaper than the lawyer getting on a plane flying here. So the time travel, the actual expenses incurred, my going there was cheap. You know, but I expect, and I'm hoping that you agree, that I should be reimbursed for those expenses.
I speak, please.
Yes,
First of all, I do not have the information with me. And it's unfairly to discuss this issue because it was listed on the agenda for the CRA and not for the town council. So therefore, I'm asking that, first of all, I'd like for this issue to be tabled. You did not explain the reason that Mr. Attorney Shepherd was going to be explaining anything other than doing a report. And you were not very clear about that. So as far as asking me to do something right now, I am not going to commit myself to do anything other than asking that this situation be tabled until the next meeting. Let's bring this back the way it's supposed to be done, because it was on the agenda as a CRA app and not a town council. So therefore, I'm not going to be at liberty to discuss this any further, other than I want to put a motion on the floor to table this until the next council meeting. Based upon what Attorney Shepherd had stated, that this is a town council item and not a CRA.
So I guess it's not really a discussion of the ethics complaint itself. It was just a matter of if it meets the two tests. That the complaint was against me in my role as chair. And it was because of the things that I did based on a resolution that was approved by the majority of the board. All of it was related to the town and my official role. And that is what is to be determined tonight. That's all that's being agreed upon. It's not a discussion of the ethics complaint. That was done. That investigation is done. You have the documents. The question is the ethics complaint based on my formal role as the former CRA director? And I'm saying that it is. That's the only thing that I think we're discussing tonight. Because if it is, then I should be reimbursed for those expenses.
I'm not going to do that.
And
That's right. You said
that's
this is
fine.
the discussion, right?
Well,
Okay, so if this is a discussion, this is a discussion. We're not here, no, hold on.
okay.
We're not here to make any official decisions about anything. You said it's a discussion. And what I'm asking, that you bring this back to the next meeting. Because this was not planned to be discussed tonight. This was not even on the agenda.
Because I wasn't sure.
Well, that's just too bad. I don't have any control of that. Okay, and second of all, since you want to discuss it, most people already know my position. I believe in doing the right thing. Just because it turned out to be in favor of what you did or your actions, it doesn't take away the fact that the board or the council did not know anything about what was going on until it was done. You did not come before the council or the board about writing a check for $71,000 to an individual. I felt that my position as a council person, that I was doing the right thing by standing up for the town and for the people here in Edenville, to make sure that they were aware, and they are aware of what is going on. I have no control of whatever decision that was made in Tallahassee. I have nothing to do with that. I only did my duty, and that's what I particularly did. And I am not going to back down on my issue as to what I stand for. And first of all, you didn't really need an attorney. It was for a probable cause investigation to discuss this matter. That was something that you did on your own. So that is, as far as I'm concerned, it's your liability. It will be up to the council to decide if they want to, whatever they want to do, that's up to them. First of all, I haven't seen any expenses on your part that you are submitting to this council tonight about your expenses. So I can't make that decision, and I won't make that
It's
decision.
in it. All it's in it. I just did that. That's why.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm through with that discussion. Thank you.
I want to discuss, I want to put my 2 cents in.
Wait, can I say one more thing? I think based on your whole statement, you just show how well it met those two points, just by your statement. Nothing you said was personal. It's nothing I did personal. It was all about my role. So I think in your statement, you just justified the reason why I should be reimbursed for those expenses. Vice Mayor.
I think so. And a person can go behind your back and do something and you don't know it, and they'll bring it before the board. that was done very discreetly and sneaky. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I was part of that investigation too. I was one of those complainants or respondents. But when you have a contract, when a person has a contract, you have to abide by it. It wasn't done discreetly. It was done by when you terminate a person, their contract said you pay them out what you owe them. We done it before. I think that people rush to judgment on trying to get somebody. I don't think it's done behind closed doors. It wasn't a council decision. It was the CRA board chairperson to say, hey, you terminated the contract of Mr. Johnson. You have to pay him out this year what it says in his contract. That's why when it went to the ethics complaint board, that's what they saw most likely, that you followed the contract, not the individual knowing the person or whatever. You followed the contract. So when we sit up here and we terminate people, you must do your own work because those people have a right if they have a contract. And that's all they'll tell us up here. They can online, read the whole contract. So when you do that, because I think she said, no, keep him here, pay him out, let him work till they're paying him out his contract. She did say that. But you guys want to get, oh, let's get rid of him now. And that's what ended up happening. You have to pay him out. And he had to do no work. At least they still getting paid instead of getting a big check for doing nothing. So, I mean, that's something we lost on, and that's what we had to buy about. Like I said, I was part of that complaint. I didn't get an attorney or anything like that. But you do have a right to get reimbursement. And it could be on the person that did it, or it could be on the town. So when you do these things, you can't be liable to pay it. If she take it to court and to be more money on your behalf, on whoever to do it. So it's up to the board to reimburse. Well, that's what we want to do. Like I said, I didn't sit on the agenda myself. I thought it was part of CRA. So I do support it because I was part of that, whatever you want to call it. But it is what it is with me. So that's why I had that move.
Councilman.
What everybody's failing to realize is that when we had this discrepancy or this situation come up, I asked for an investigation. I asked. I think this board also passed the, when it was put to a vote to do an investigation, and we wouldn't be here if we had an investigation done to see that everything was done properly. Now, we can ask the attorney right now, according to Mr. Shepherd, when you have a contract, isn't there a Florida statute that says that you are entitled to a certain amount and not the whole contract to prevent people from approving a contract that may, hurt them or hurt the town, such as this saying that I want my contract to say I want to be paid out in full if I get terminated prematurely.
Yeah.
Now, before you answer, just real quick, before you answer, that contract was not vetted by the attorney. I was on him asking, Attorney Perry, did you read that contract? He said no. I made this board, which I don't think the mayor was on there on that particular board, but no one vetted that contract. I saw stipulations in the contract that had the executive director to be a part of land negotiations as a realtor. Like, isn't that a conflict of interest? So I'm saying before we do this, guys, let's get it vetted. Let's vote on it. They didn't do it, and they approved that contract, which I thought wasn't the right way of going about it by not having legal to vet it first. Now, with that being said, there is a Florida statute that we know about that says you only get paid out so much, and not a $71,000 payout. Who does that? Who gets paid $71,000 if you get fired, whether it's by cause or not? $71,000. If you felt like you was fired wrong, then guess what? You get a lawsuit, you get a lawyer, then you take it to court and see if you can get the rest of your payment. But when you're fired or dismissed for a cause, you shouldn't get your 71. And I asked for an investigation, which this board would never, it was voted upon to do, but never put it out for, I guess, RSP or whatever to get someone to look into it. So now I'm going to let our attorney discuss and give us his opinion on that particular matter. Thank you.
Okay, so first, there is a statute, and in fact, it's even discussed in the advocate's recommendations which should be in part of the materials you provided. I forget the number, it's 420 something, and I'll give you the exact number if you need it, no problem, so anybody can look it up. But basically, it was passed, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, and it was to prevent essentially golden parachutes, meaning situations where, and what caused it, I actually was involved in a case where this is why the law was passed. You had a council, the majority of which were defeated in an election. They decided that they really liked the town manager. The people who were running for election could not wait to fire that person. And so as their final act of defiance, they voted her an increased contract with a huge payout as some sort of a poison pill for having lost the election, and then stuck the city with that bill. As a result of that, the legislature said, well, this is ridiculous, and made a statute that restricted all of such contracts to no more than 20 weeks of whatever the regular pay was. And also said in the statute that you weren't allowed to do it you couldn't manufacture a reason and call it something else. You couldn't call it a bonus or whatever. This is what you got. And that's actually discussed in the advocate's report. So there's no dispute there was a statute or is a statute. There's no dispute that it would have applied to the situation, because if this contract had been entered into prior to the statute, then it would have been grandfathered in without the restriction. But it would clearly not have been qualified. So that's discussed. The advocate goes through that. But the key to this thing, and again, notwithstanding your various positions on the issues, once they looked at what caused the mayor to make the decision that she did, whether as mayor or CRA chairperson, they determined that A, she was clearly acting in that capacity, A, a professional capacity, and B, she had good reason to do it that wasn't outside the scope of either her authority or her jobs to the public, which is one of the reasons why her responsibility to the public, because her motivations were not corrupt, according to the report. Her motivations were not to do ill to the town or anybody else, or to benefit anybody in specific in a non-legal way. It was because, in her view, based on the information she was provided, this was the best way to solve a problem created by the termination of Mr. Johnson. That's essentially, I'm paraphrasing because it's a long advocate's report, but essentially that's what he says. And so the next question then in the context of where we're here, and was I guess it was put to Mr. Jackson first, is what is the standard now that we've done that to see whether or not Gardner is able to be reimbursed. It really is as simple as two questions. First question, and I pulled up the email so I could get it exactly right the way I read it, because I wanted to make sure I use the exact language that's from all the various opinions. Whether the acts alleged in Ms. Randolph's complaint arose from the mayor or Chair Gardner's official duties. That's question number one. So did she act in her capacity as a strong mayor in the city of Eatonville and at the time the chair of the CRA in making a determination that the money should be paid to Mr. Johnson on his contract? And number two, whether a public purpose was being served. It's not about whether it was a mistake in making that decision, because the stated reasons as determined by the advocate were to avoid a lawsuit and that she had not been given advice to the contrary. So those are the two standards, which is why, although I ordinarily wouldn't even go this far, I said, if you look at the report, there appears to be evidence to support both of those conclusions. But ultimately, I also said, it is the council's judgment that matters in this situation. So I don't substitute my judgment for yours. The only reason I even said that is because I had digested the report, and I think if you go through it and read it again, you'll see what I'm talking about. But ultimately, all that needs to be answered tonight regarding the reimbursement, I still don't have much, by the way. So as long as y'all know, it should be said publicly if somebody makes a motion. But it is would be discussed and determined whether, in your view, she was acting consistent with her official duties. Again, this is a strong mayor and she was the chair of the board. So it's different than if she was just another council person, and whether a public purpose was being served. And again, the report indicates that based on their review of the evidence, she was acting in good faith based on the information provided to her about the exposure of the town by not doing so. So those are their conclusions. That's why they found no probable cause. I didn't investigate anybody.
I mean, that's just what it boils down to. If what I did was based on my position,
did you consult legal to make sure that you were doing the proper steps so that you wouldn't get sued, Mr. Johnson wouldn't be suing, and everything would be fine? Did you get legal's advice?
If you go in here, you'll see.
I'm asking you just.
Well, no, because it's not just what I say, it's what's written in the investigation that you wanted. And they have the documentation where it does show that I did ask both attorneys. And even when the emails were sent to me saying this is what the payout is, I even said, hey, make sure it's done by procedure. Now, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the word procedure or property or something like that. I even voted no to a resolution that y'all were told was insufficient to do what you wanted it to do, and you still voted yes. I even went 3 or 4 days without even doing anything because I felt that it wasn't complete. So if anyone was fighting for it not to happen, it was me. But then email goes out and pressure coming, yay, fire, fire, fire. And we violated the contract because you would not wait. I even said, clear up what it is you have concerns about before you terminate, and y'all still voted. You still voted. So the deal now is, was I working in my capacity? It's not, did you like the outcome, but was I working in my capacity? I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't the chair. Yes.
Does this report have what Attorney Jackson's rulings were?
I don't remember that even
Right,
discussing.
because I'm asking that because dealing with the CRA, we should only deal with the CRA. So we get in heated debates up here about the legal being summoned on the town side when you're dealing with CRA situations. So the mayor has just said that I asked both attorneys when only one should have been really asked, and that was Attorney Jackson, and his view on paying out of the CRA. And is it me, or this is what we get in heated debates about separate? We're separate.
I thankfully it was not me, but I can tell you that I don't know. And I was skimming through the report to see if they discussed whether they interviewed or had an interview with Attorney Jackson, or for that matter, I guess at the time it would have been Mr. Mosley, or maybe it was Mr. Perriman. It was Mr. Perry. They do discuss Mr. Perry, 100%. I remember that, and I can find you that provision. Then the statute, for those who are paying concern, it's 215.425. Parent 4, Parent A, limit severance payments that being authorized, 220. 215.425.4A. And I'll see if I can scroll through quickly to find, because I remember them discussing the information from Mr. Perry. I just can't remember what it said.
And the reason we're having a discussion now is because of the email from Attorney Jackson that said it depends on what happens here.
Yes.
If it goes, so that's why that discussion is here. You all were, I suppose, sent that email as well. That's why we're here.
This is, if respectfully, this isn't about relitigating the ethics complaint. That determination by the body who has full jurisdiction has already been made. So it really is, okay, based on the actions that were taken and the report that you've received and any other information need to be considered. Does it meet the 2 tests? Was the mayor/chair of the board acting in her professional capacity, elected and appointed, and to serve a public purpose? And when you read the report, you don't have to agree with the findings, but that's what this advocate recommended. And that's why the board, the Commission on Ethics found no probable cause. But I will continue, y'all can continue to talk, but I will continue to I will look for the portion that discusses Mr. Perry, because I remember that's in here. I just can't remember what it says.
And I have a professional license. I mean, if that would have went south for something I did not do, I would have been foolish not to get a lawyer. You know, so I had every right to protect myself as a lawyer, because I did not do anything. But again, I don't assume that others are going to see it in that same light. The deal here is, do I get reimbursed? Which I think that I should.
Yeah, it tells you need, if you want an attorney, you get an attorney. And I think in the law that the person that brought the complaint can be allowed to pay it. So all the time. So And that's something we have to, deal with.
The council's decision.
Yeah, only, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking, is for the council to approve my getting paid the money then. That's all I want.
And I had said before, bring it back to the next meeting. This is what we're doing now, it's just discussing the matter. So you need to bring it back, because it wasn't on the agenda. So we have to do this, want to do it the right way.
Tanisha,
Yes, ma'am.
if this gets dragged out, what are my rights?
If it's what?
If this gets dragged out, what are my rights?
Well, if it gets dragged out interminably, meaning there's no end and it's an unreasonable amount of time, then you can bring an action in court. And then you'll get, if you prevail, you get those fees and these fees. But in terms of, do I think tabling it to the next meeting, you probably meet the criteria, in my opinion, it probably wouldn't pass that night. And again, I still don't know what we're talking about in terms of dollars. So that's.
Just like 1,600, 1,700 bucks.
So, but having said that, whenever you get to that point, that number has to be, everybody has to know exactly what that number is. But again, the report, in fact, maybe it would be a good idea to be, these things are public records, so anybody wants to read them. But I do know, and again, I've been trying to scroll through it. I hear this. If you want me to read a portion about Mr. Perry, it's in here. During the meeting, the then Tokra attorney Jaman Perry advised the board that this resolution to terminate Johnson was not properly written, nor had Johnson had the opportunity to appear before the board to be heard. According to the terms of his employment agreement, due to these irregularities, responded to not consider his employment officially terminated at the April 19th board meeting, but rather was the board's first step in the termination process. Subsequently, respondent contacted Johnson, who told respondent he did not wish to dispute his termination. So to the extent they talked to Perry or about what Perry said, it was, you shouldn't be doing this. And apparently it was done anyway. So that's how, according to this report, I wasn't there, but that's what it says.
I don't know. Is it possible we can have an investigation or is it too late? Well, I asked that, it's one thing, attorney. I asked that because in resolution 22-28, section 1, town council, town of Evil designate that all checks issued by the CRA have 2 signatures. That's what it says right here. It's only 1 on here. So please, for the love of God, help me understand why it requires 2 on this resolution, but it's only 1, and that was vice mayor's signature. Now, you tell me that's okay?
No,
They have 1?
I'm not saying that at all. This is 2 different issues. So, you've asked, hey, can you ask for an investigation? Well, you can ask for anything that you can get 3 votes. So if it's not illegal, so that the answer to that one is going to be yes, no matter every time she asks. However, you ask, how is it that if this check didn't have 2 signatures, that's not an issue? Because that's not an ethics violation according to the statute. And all we're talking about, again, I'm not endorsing or not endorsing. I'm not saying great idea. It was all handled perfectly. That's not what I'm saying. There was a specific complaint. And because the idea of Florida law is to protect public officials, so they will continue to be willing to run from change charges that are found to be unfounded, which is exactly what happened here. They have a right to get reimbursed for those expenses. Now, does that mean they have a right to get reimbursed for every expense in the future or something else? No, but for this complaint and for the circumstances presented according to them, it didn't rise to the level. And that leaves you with this 2-part test. It doesn't mean that there shouldn't have been 2 signatures on the check or not. It doesn't mean that that policy shouldn't be followed or you can invent. It's literally limited to complaint, dismissed, reimbursement. Everything else is outside of that arena.
I asked you what happened. She acted in her capacity and she was able to do the issue. But those 2 signatures, so the process probably was done wrong. But she was able, determined by ethics,
Right.
that she didn't do because she acted in her capacity. But the signing of the 1 signature on the check is the process that was wrong. That needs to be investigated.
Right.
Right. So I got you now. So that needs to be investigated and not what she did, because they're saying she did what she was supposed to do in her capacity.
And because there's not a statute, there's no ethics rule that says every check has to have two signatures.
I thought it was, I thought according to the town of Evil.
But, yeah, but that's not,
Right,
they don't have jurisdiction over that.
I got you. So, all right, I see where, okay, thank you.
So again, I'm asking that I get reimbursed. And I
Is all the documents here? Cause I want to.
do have an
go-
exact amount.
I wanna go through.
Yeah, like, no.
Well, I just have to add them up. The only thing that you do not have, you have the attorney's bill. And you have the credits where I've already paid him and the amount that's left for him to be paid. The $780 has not been paid. But you have all of that. The thing that you do not have is my mileage going there and back. And one night hotel stays. I went the night before, had the meeting at 9 o'clock that next day, and we came right back home.
Attorney Shepherd, can we request the transcripts?
Of well, yeah, it's, you can get this, what I saw was the advocate's recommendation, but in addition to those things, there are typically like 5 or 6 different records. There's the report of the investigation, which is separate from the advocate's recommendation. There is a referral to be investigated, so that's the third document. There's a notice of receipt of the complaint, which is sent to whoever's being complained against, and with a copy of the complaint that was filed, and there's a disposition order. So there's like 5 or 6 public records, all of which, since the announcement of the outcome, are now public records and anybody can get them. The reason I happen to know this so well is because tomorrow we will be addressing the very same issue in Apopka against its mayor, and again, a determination of no probable cause. So I'm very familiar with the standard and I'm very familiar with the records.
Before I make my decision, I would like to have, because I wanted to just look at those.
That's a tabling issue, if that's what you choose to do.
You mean transcripts from the,
All of that.
It's a report of the investigation. It's like 5 or 6 different records that they can, all you gotta do is request them or she can get them. It's not difficult. I literally sent an email at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had it the next morning, by email.
Yes. We talked.
Yeah, they sent it immediately.
So an incident with this.
I don't know what everybody else got. I just know that the reason I had to get it is because I needed one for an exhibit, which y'all have, the one I needed, the report of the recommendation. I didn't have that, so I asked them and they sent me everything, just that as well as everything else.
so since we're not the holder of those documents, what does Councilman Daniels need to do to get the document?
Just make a request for it.
You can just call.
Yeah.
Just call that 850 number.
I don't have, is it in the documents?
I think so, dude.
Okay.
The fellow who responded to me was a guy named Mike Fulford. I don't know his position, but he responded to me and said, here you go.
Okay.
Send everything.
So then, the first meeting in July should be a reasonable time for them to have the exact figure and to make a decision.
Ultimately, it's not my call, but if you're asking me, do I think so? I think that's a reasonable time under the circumstances. But it's not gonna change the decision. It's literally the things I've said.
Right.
Those are the things you get to consider.
All right, next item on the agenda, I apologize, I gotta go quicker. Before we vote on the consent agenda, I just wanted you to be clear on what the consent agenda item was for, and that's for the flood plain. Mr. Cotton, just quickly explain.
There's a lot of papers in here.
Thank you, Mayor. McGee, Planner One for the town of Eatonville. Back in March, we had from the Florida Office of Floodplain Management a assessment, and they identified some procedural concerns. In order to address those procedural concerns, we had to pass a resolution, which you see before you. The resolution contains facts and figures that are peculiar to Eatonville. With the passage of the resolution, the attachment of the performance measures that we'll be carrying out subsequent to this, it puts us back in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program. So those properties, those homeowners that have homes that are in the special flood hazard area maintain eligibility for flood insurance. Is that?
Yeah, that's all I needed. Thank you.
I got one question.
Yes.
So. Didn't you have to fill out all these papers to build a house, something like this? You have to fill all these out?
I'm not sure what papers you have.
I mean, development, Do we have to fill all this stuff out? Have to apply with all this?
Any properties that are within special flood has not for every parcel in Eatonville, only those parcels are in the flood hazard area. If there's new development on a parcel in the special flood hazard area, then they have to fill out the application for a floodplain certificate.
Oh,
So the documents in the file.
they have to abide by all these papers. Before I vote on this, I just can't support 10 pieces of paper a new construction have to fill out just for being a flood area.
Well, it's not something that I produce. This is something that for compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program and the State Office of Floodplain Management that is required. It's to maintain eligibility, participation in the National Flood Insurance Program so that those homeowners can be eligible for flood insurance. So it's not my requirement. It's not something that the Department of Planning and Development has come up with. It's something that is required.
So, what's required now, since we have it now, what they do now, what was doing before? What was doing before this, sir?
I cannot speak on what we were doing before. I was not here, Council.
What, I mean, have
No,
money.
this is for, this is a requirement in order for those persons in flood zones and for us to be in compliance for them to receive flood insurance.
Right.
That's what this is for. Otherwise, we are,
I know that.
I don't have the ability to remove that from the requirement.
I'm saying what we have on the books now, before this here.
we're not in compliance.
You have compliance with, I mean, you said about the compliance, so when they build, will have anything on the books saying, except the insurance company come and say you're in the flood zone?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
I'm saying, when a person build, before we adopt this here, what they was doing before. If you were here, but what you think it was doing, I mean,
There is in the code floodplain administration procedures. I cannot speak on how well or how poorly they will follow prior to me being here.
so where's the ones we was doing before, or the paperwork application or permit, building codes? Where's the other application?
Where's
The ones we got on the books now before we put this on the books? It should be another building code, special flood zone hazard area, paperwork
I
somewhere.
don't have those forms from before. And when the state office assessed us and identified procedural concerns, what I've worked to do is to put in order the things that we need to maintain compliance, and you see those before you, and I don't have the ability or the will to remove them. I want us to be in compliance.
I want to be in compliance too, but I don't want a developer coming here, so you can build a house. First they have to fill all these papers out, then they have to fill the permit out. Then, I'm just saying, it's just, what I'm looking at here, I don't know if there's a major block and some stuff on each paperwork. It should be in the regular permit.
Are there any other questions at this point?
That's what I'm looking at. That's my question.
And I don't see we have, I don't see
Question?
that we have a. I don't think we have a choice.
What
What is the
what
question?
was doing before this? That's what my question is. You said you don't know because you never done one of these before since you've been here?
Right.
So you
When
can't
I
go
came
get.
in, we were under moratorium for developers, new development. I didn't process any new development. So I cannot speak on what I don't know about. I wasn't here and I haven't processed any since I've been here. So the state office identified procedural concerns. In order to meet them, this is what we have to do. And I don't have the ability to change or alter or remove that. So I'm not sure what you're asking me at this point.
I'm just asking what we was doing before. That's what I'm
I
asking.
answered that.
And if we wanna have a application of the last special flood hazard plan. We
I
have
don't
an
have one
old one,
with me.
huh?
I don't have one with
I'm
me.
just saying, do we have one on books? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Do we have another one besides this one here that we have to do? Is it 2 pages, 4 pages, or what was the other one?
I know
If you
that
don't know
going
that, then-
forward, what you have before is what we need, so what we have before doesn't matter to me.
Okay, it mattered to me, but okay. I just can't support this. This is, I mean, I'm looking at, I mean,
So what's your solution?
solution, I wanna see the other development on plans. What we had before this, that we have on books. So that's what I'm
Trying to
doing.
table it? What are you trying, that's what I'm saying, what are you trying to do? What's the-
They definitely take it.
So if I was an insurance company and someone filed for flood insurance in a certain community, and this paperwork is not done, so as an insurance company, I can say, you're not gonna get flood insurance.
Sure, stuff I already know you in the flood area. Trust me.
That's correct.
They're gonna know you, they're gonna know you in the flood area,
But
they're gonna know you
these
got fire hydrants, they're gonna know you got a good fire hydrant there, or you got that. They gonna already know that stuff before they give you the insurance. So they're gonna do their work. I'm trying to say, what we doing on our part, that put developers, that somebody want to build a house, so you in the flood plan, flood zone. What areas in Edenville is a flood zone? Or Edenville? No, I mean,
No, Councilman. But what you are asking me about what we had before has no bearing on what I have to do in response to this assessment and in keeping us in compliance. It has no bearing.
I think that's it. Just stop it.
Any other questions at this point?
No, it's just, it's necessary in order for us to stay in compliance. I just wanted a quick little synopsis, but for us to think.
wait, you see what I'm saying?
Alright. So with that being the case, do you have approval for the consent agenda?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. There are no more items. Mr. Presley does not have a report. I did get that. Again, keeping his wife's family and him in prayer. Attorney Chuck, you have a.
Are you all aware, I don't want to dwell on something you already were, but that Form 6 has now been enjoined, so you do not have to file Form 6 before July 1st. Do you know what I'm speaking about? Okay, do you know, sir? Okay, so what that means is, there was for those who don't know, Form 6 is a very detailed, irritating fill out financial disclosure. And it was never required of local officials before. It was, at least until a judge entered an order last week, required now of local officials. So onerous was it that over 125 people holding office, just like you all, resigned rather than fill it out because it requires you to disclose literally everything, down to the penny what you make, every money what's in your bank account, everything you own stock wise, everything you own property wise. Any judge, I mean, it is a massive piece of disclosure, usually complicated enough that you might need a CPA to fill it out. But a judge found, reasons I'll spare everybody, that it violated the Constitution and in the way it was enacted and so forth and what it covered. And so enjoined its application to all elected officials, whether they were or weren't part of the lawsuit. It also implies the injunction saying it's not enforceable to candidates. So if anybody was planning to run for office and worried about having to fill it out, at least until that injunction is listed or there's a final decision, the answer would be no. But in its place, you still have to fill out by July 1st, Form 1, the one you're already used to filling out. And so if you weren't aware of that, I wanted to make sure that you did that. If you already filed Form 6, oh well. But if you haven't, then you're saved by the bell.
So only Form 1 is
Only
required.
Form 1 by July 1st.
Form 6 is, what is it?
It's on hold. It's on hold by a court order until further notice. And if we have notice, we'll all know because everybody in this business who does what I do will know and we'll pass it along. But that's the latest as it sits right now.
Mayor, for the record, just wanted to let you all know that an email did go out to the council informing you of that change.
Thank you. All right. Councilman Daniels.
Good evening, everyone. Just real quick. I felt like the veteran expo explanations, we probably should have did a presentation on that, so you have more time to explain everything. Next time we'll know which one presentation, so unlimited time discussing what you need to discuss. Also, I guess I answered my own question about getting the transcript from the ethics complaint. And this is from Mr. Presley and Mr. Cobbin McGee. Mr. English, I keep running into Mr. English, and he doesn't have an update about the property that he's trying to purchase. It's a simple, you can get it or not. I saw him this past weekend. Hey, how you doing? Has our administration gotten in contact with you? No. So I'm asking Mr. McGee or Mr. Presley just to send an email out to Mr. English, informing him on his rights, on what he can do to purchase the property, a little narrow way property next to his house. He was interested in purchasing it. We don't have to talk about it now. We don't have to talk about it now. You can just send an email or just let me know, hey, I'll contact Mr. English. And I'm fine with that. But he's very, I won't say disgruntled, he's just disappointed in the lack of communication from us, especially, saying that he wants to purchase this property. So I just look for an email saying, hey, got Mr. English taken care of from you or Mr. President. And just have a great day. And the speed bumps over by Life Center, we can take care of those just whenever we get those ones that don't tear up your car. Everyone have a good night.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay. Let's see, I have a list. I'm going to try to make it short. I have a couple of things. We still have problems with code enforcement. The quad that I live in is the Lake Lovely quad, and I sent some photos today. And I don't know whether or not these things have been looked upon, but these are ongoing issues in Lake Lovely. If Mrs. King can just pull some of those up, just a few. Okay, the gray house there is a Airbnb. And I don't think is that a violation in our town? Okay, but that dwelling has, from what I understand, my investigation or inquiry has been there for approximately 2 years. Nothing has been done about it. I understand there have been some officials that have asked about it in the past. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that needs to be looked upon and investigated. The other one is the house right next, a couple of doors down from there. It's in really deplorable conditions. There are junk cars, trucks, and things in the backyard that haven't run, seems like they've been there for a long time. Trash, junk cars, automobile cars in the front of the yard that needs attention. And there's some other things about this particular street here is that this street is Deacon Jones. We have a local builder that has built about 4 homes there. He got like $1 billion worth of real estate there that he's built. And to have this neighborhood to be in this condition, I always wonder what the people who bought these homes in that neighborhood, what are they thinking? What's on their mind? They bought a $250,000 home, and then they have to be subject to neighbors that don't keep their properties up. That is not right. And they deserve better than that. Okay, there's another one here. You got another dwelling there that has a car wash on the same street, right across the street from the Airbnb. You got that other one there is just a Juneteenth celebration, which there was a lot of nice flags out in front. There's no violation with that per se. It's just decorated. Can you flip to the next one, please? Okay, here's another one. Two junk cars parked up under the tree. It's been there for a while. Nothing has been done. I don't see any violations of any salutation from code enforcement. And all I'm gonna say is that this has to be better. We talk about these things over and over again. And Mayor, I'd like to know what is it that we're doing about these issues that we keep bringing up time and time again. Nothing has been accomplished.
Did you send those pictures to Mr. President?
I will.
All right, then we'll get with that. Is there anything else for your?
You know, you
report?
say send things to Mr. Presley, but you send things to Mr. Presley and things don't get done.
Did you
So
send it to Mr.
you
Presley?
keep saying, excuse me, I'm talking. You keep saying, send things to Mr. Presley. We send things to Mr. Presley. I have an item that's been on my schedule for the last year to Mr. Presley, and nothing still hasn't been done
What
about
is
the
the item?
logo for the town.
What is,
So
the-
if we can't get from Mr. Presley, who do we go to?
what is the item?
The logo. We got logo, code enforcement. Those things has been pending for a long time. So you keep saying going to Mr. Presley. So who do we go to when we don't get things from Mr. Presley?
Well, you just brought it to my attention, but you want,
No,
wait, let me speak.
Yes, I will wait.
But you also want a decision on the saying that you bring something. When I brought something, you didn't notice. So if you bring it to me, you brought it to my attention, then I will get with Mr. Presley for those things that you have not gotten with him about. But if he's never gotten those, then I'll get with him.
I have had ongoing things with Mr. Presley, and you hear in the meetings, and you know exactly what those issues have been. Because
Wait,
we talk about them
Is
at
there-
every meeting with code
is
enforcement,
there anything else
and
in your
nothing is
report?
being done.
Okay.
Also, are there any updates on Founder's Day?
When we have updates, we'll bring it to the board, council, anything else.
I didn't hear it.
When we have an update, we'll bring it to the council.
Okay, I believe that's all I have. Oh, yeah, one other thing too, I want to bring to your attention. The street sweeper, I haven't seen anyone there really. I know this was brought up before, maybe about a couple months ago, but it'd be nice to have the streets to be swept. There's leaves, all kinds of trash on the streets, and I haven't seen a sweeper in a while. Also, the air conditioning system at the Benton Johnson Center. The other day, yesterday rather, there was an event there. And I constantly hear people who complain about the air conditioning system, and with the rates that we're charging, they deserve better. I don't know if something is wrong with the air conditioning system. Other than that, I don't really have anything else at this point, and, very nice, occasion this past weekend on Juneteenth for the gala and also the festival. So the organizers did a very good job on that. So I want to appreciate that very much, and you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice.
Yes, I want to echo that. Juneteenth event over the weekend was very nice. The gala was definitely lovely. That's what we need, more of. And it's like I said, it's community to bring people here. So that's one thing I love to see. People gathering and coming to Edenville, experience something they didn't have experience before, so for some of them. But happy Juneteenth. You guys take tomorrow off, staff, no stuff.
Thank you.
And that's it, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Thank you, Chief Murray. My husband he had retired, not retired, he had been in the service 12 years. And it wasn't until like maybe 2019, someone approached him about even getting with a representative for benefits. And it was the best thing. And I know if he was walking around with no benefits and qualifying, there are others. So I think that's gonna be a great benefit to veterans and their families. Thank you, Ms. Finley, for the Juneteenth celebration. Also, Life of Military Child, I don't know the name of the company, but Patricia. Very nice events, and I look forward to tomorrow's event at 6:30 here in the front, correct? Thank you also for it was an honor being a nominee for the Community Legend Award. I do it just to keep a promise, like I always say. And that's what I'll continue to do. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I believe, out in the front, is going to be a press conference for this site being an early voting site, which is a big deal, that we have access to early voting and we don't have to go all the way across town. Again, condolences to Mr. Presley's wife and her family. I hope that people notice we changed it now. There are 10 ways to communicate or to receive communication in this town. And I think that's commendable. You know, we say, I didn't know about it, I didn't know about it. There are 10 ways. And out of those 10 ways, everyone should fall in one of those categories. And I think that is it. With that being said, it is 8:50. I move for adjournment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, all opposed. You're adjourned.